Alright, welcome back to the introduction to the N8N Nodes Advanced Flow Blocks. This is one video of a full playlist, so if you didn't see the other videos yet, maybe you should jump to the playlist and watch the intro first. So, this video is about the paging mechanism. What is a paging mechanism? In some APIs, you have a certain amount of messages that you can request, and if you want to request more, then you have to send an additional call. In our example here, the Ninox node, Ninox allows a maximum of 250 items. So if I just go here, not to the docs, sorry, go here and say return all, then I only will receive 100. Let me just show that to you. Oops, not that, like that. And let's delete this. So let's put the paging aside for a second. So if I run this now, you receive 100 items. If I deactivate that and say I want to say 500, and then I click here, 250. So I execute and I get 250. The thing is, in this list, I have more than 500 items, so I would have to call that multiple times, but I don't really know how often to call it. And that's why we introduced the paging. One side note here, if you are not using a normal node, but you are using this HTTP request node, here you also have the possibility to handle pagination. This might be a bit more convenient for you. You should at least check that out. But in our example, we don't have that because we don't use this node. So in our example, we have the pagination, or we have our paging, and we want to page our, we want to request all of our data. So first thing we have to do is we have to, parameterize that thing. And we have to set a start value, a step value, and a maximum amount. And then we can say, what do we want? That's already a difference in this pagination towards the HTTP request pagination, because here you can select what you want. If you maybe want to have the last list or the longest list or the shortest list, or most common for you, you just want to have multiple requests and receive a full list of all items. So let's go to all collected. The maximum amount, that's very important. This is just a setting that is currently used nowhere. This is just a parameter of the exit of this node, or of the output of this node, so that you can input this to the other node. So this is just a convenience to, to set up this node here complete, to set up pagination in this node completely and handle the specific amounts in the nodes where you need it. I can show you what I mean by that. Did I already connect? I did already connect. Let me disconnect here and disconnect here so that I can show you step by step. If we run this, there's nothing in our finished branch, but in our paging branch we have one single item. Let me show it as JSON, it's a bit easier. We have the run index. So how often was this thing run? We have the index. This currently equals our start value, and will be, come on, sorry, it's a bit bad readable. We have the index, so this will be increased by the steps. This will always be increased by 1. So if you would have a start value 1, then index here would be 1, but run index would still be 0. You have this max amount, which is just for convenience, and you have the number of entries that is already in your list. Important, if you put last list here, for example, then this would just provide the amount of entries input at the last list. This would be with the longest, and this would be with the shortest list. But we still want all collected. So we call our pagination, and now we have to set up this node here. So instead of setting the page here, I use the index. And instead of using the limit here, I use my max amount. So now, once this is all run, you should receive the output in the logs. So the logger should output all our elements. Let's try to run it. And a little spoiler alert, I already know that it will not work. So we run through here. You see it ran 4 times. Or it was started here 4 times and ended here 4 times. But the finish output did not receive any data. Why is this? This happens if you take a look at the Ninox node. Here you see there is no output data returned. In 3, something is returned, so we come back to the pagination. Pagination says, okay, there was some data, let's call Ninox. Then we call Ninox, we don't receive any data back, and therefore the pagination is not triggered again. So, very important, you have to set the always output data marker, because this ensures that if you don't receive any information back from in this example Ninox, or for whatever node you're using there, that still the pagination is triggered again. So we receive an empty element here, paging recognizes, oh, it's empty, so then I can end and go here. So let's just run it. Our total flow will just test. I get all my data, I log them, and then we check if we find someone with the name Joachim in our list. So don't trust these data by now. Once it's finished, it will go down. So I don't know why it puts such an amount of data, but now after it's finished, 583 is correct. But 3000 something was not correct. So here is our data. Honestly, not much to read, but that's good because this is production data. Didn't want to show them. And unfortunately, no Joachim. So if there's any Joachims watching this video, please connect on LinkedIn. All right, that's how pagination works. Again, I cannot point this out often enough because I stepped into that problem a few times already. Always input, always output data. Otherwise, you will not get anything in finished. Okay, so that's how paging works in N8N with our N8N advanced flow nodes. Thanks for watching. Make sure to watch the other videos as well. Take care and have a nice day.